Hey guys, Nathan Collins here with the discussion board post number 2. Yes, I'm growing a mustache for No Shave November. My girlfriend hates it. So, the missionary pilot, during this discussion of the missionary pilot, I'll be sharing what it takes to be a missionary pilot, what qualifications you're expected to have, and the environment which a missionary pilot spends his or her time flying in. Throughout this video, I'll be referencing Mission Aviation Fellowship, which is a nonprofit organization located in Nampa, Idaho. They serve 37 countries, 1,500 nonprofit churches, and human organizations. And they have a fleet of 135 airplanes, varying from the Cessna 206 up to the turbine aircraft such as the Kodiak, which is a really cool airplane. Their mission statement, which I found on their website, is sharing the love of Jesus Christ through aviation and technology so that isolated people may be physically and spiritually transformed. The personal qualifications to become a missionary pilot, I'd like to discuss first what kind of person it takes to be a missionary pilot, and then what kind of pilot does it take. So I think the two are different. So what kind of person does it take to be a missionary pilot? First, requires a relationship with Jesus Christ. This is a key because a lot of the work and flying of a missionary pilot is done out of the heart of a servant. Whether you're carrying people or valuable resources to remote destinations, each pilot of this field is more or less risking their lives each day as to benefit the well-being of others. As far as pay goes, that's another sacrifice. Being a nonprofit, there's no salary, so you must raise your own financial support. And as our lecturer said, in some circumstances, you may even be required to know another language, which would be tough. Pilot qualifications. One requirement to become a missionary pilot amongst companies such as MAF is that you have to have an AMP, which is an airframe and power plant mechanic certificate. Being out in these desolate areas, you can imagine if your engine hiccups while you're flying in the jungle or on the ground when you're trying to take off, there's not going to be an FBO or fixed base operator nearby with a shop to help. In this time of need, fixing your aircraft means having a mechanic, and well, that mechanic is going to be you. With a few essential tools that you could pack on board, this could be the difference between being stuck and being on your way to a village with valuable resources to a community that is counting on you. Other than an AMP, based upon the MAF website, a minimum flight time of 400 hours with a commercial certificate, an instrument rating, and 50 hours in a high-performance airplane is a great goal to obtain before applying. Now, again, these are the absolute minimum requirements. Other qualifications to seek that will benefit your position as a missionary pilot would be a flight instructor certificate, a tailwheel endorsement, and a turbine experience adds a high value to your place within this field. If given the job, you'll serve as a pilot under instruction until you are checked out on the field. During this time, you're going through the process of attaining your pilot's license in the country in which you are serving. Once you're legal and checked out, you start an older aircraft, typically the Cessna 206, although some countries do have the turbine fleets because the cost of avgas out in these areas can be pricey. Found out on their website that it was $25 a gallon. So your time under instruction can vary widely depending on what country you're in. Onto the environment and weather you'll experience as a missionary pilot. Flying as a missionary pilot requires highly developed skills that deal with very dynamic and changing environments. One challenge a pilot in this field may face is the unruly surface conditions on which they land and take off in. We won't call them runways, more or less landing strips made up of usually grass, gravel, or dirt. I emailed the team leader of MAF, Brian Bethel, and he said, quote, "In Ecuador, we have over 200 airstrips within an hour's flight of our base. And so even after my first term of 4 years and flying on my own for a good while, there will still some strips that I hadn't been checked out on. The more difficult ones, less than 1,300 feet with weird approaches," end quote. So you better have these soft field takeoff landings nailed. Weather, as always in aviation, is a challenge. These airports are in the tropical subregions and can bring really challenging weather such as thunderstorms, wind shear, low visibility, and heavy rains. Your skills in interpreting these weather phenomena are going to benefit you and your safety of the missions that you do. Not to mention the mountainous terrain that's going to be around that area. It could be the decision between life and death. In closing, being a missionary pilot is not for the faint of heart. It's an immense responsibility that one must acquire and take very seriously. There are numerous resources out there if you are interested in becoming a missionary pilot. One being the MAF.org, which is the Mission Aviation Fellowship. And I hope to learn some information for you guys' posts. I look forward to it. Here we go. Number 2, discussion board. God bless.